Mindset and depression. Maybe Bernard Lewis, French chief, was just stressed. Were you thinking that? As a psychologist and an educator, I am vitally interested in depression. It runs wild on college campuses, especially in February and March. The winter is not over, the summer is not in sight, work has piled up, and the relationships are often frayed. Yet it's been clear to me for a long time that different students handle depression in dramatically different ways. Some let everything slide, others through feeling rich, hang on. They drag themselves to class, keep up with their work, and take care of themselves so that when they feel better, their lives are intact. Their lives are intact. Not long ago, we decided to see whether mindset play a role in this difference. To find out, we measured the student mindset and then had them keep an online diary for 3 weeks in February and March. Every day they answer questions about their mood, their activities, and how they were coping with problems. Here, what we discovered. First, the students with the fixed mindset had higher levels of depression. Our analysis showed that this was because they ruminated over their problems and setbacks, essentially tormenting themselves with the idea that the setbacks meant they were incompetent or unworthy. It just kept circulating in my head. We are a dupe. I just couldn't let go for the truth that this made me less of a man against failure, labeled them, and left them no route to success. And the one depressed they felt, the more they let things go. The less they took action to solve their problem. For example, they didn't study what they needed to, they didn't hand in their assignment one time, they didn't keep up with their chores. Although students with the fixed mindset showed more depression, there were still plenty of people with the growth mindset who felt pretty miserable, this being peak season for depression. And here we saw something really amazing. The more depressed people with the growth mindset fell short of severe depression, the more they took actions to confront their problem, the more they made sure to keep up with their schoolwork, and the more they keep up with their lives, the worse they fall, the more determined they become. In fact, from the way they act, it might have been hard to know how despondent they were. Here is a story a long man told me. Here is a story a young man told me. I was a freshman and it was the first time I had been away from home. Everyone was a stranger. The courses were hard, and as the year wore on, I felt more and more depressed. Eventually it reached a point where I could hardly get out of my bed in the morning. But every day I forced myself to get up, shower, shave, and do whatever it was I needed to do. One day I really hit a low point and I decided to ask for help. So I went to the teaching assistant in my psychology course and asked for the advice. Are you going to your classes? She asked. Yes, I replied. Are you keeping up with your reading? Yes. Are you doing okay on your exams? Yes. Well, she informed me, then you are not depressed. He was depressed, but he was coping the way people in the growth mindset tends to cope with determination. Doesn't temperament have a lot to do with it? Aren't some people sensitive by nature while others just let things roll off their backs? Temperament certainly plays a role, but mindset is an important part of the story. When we taught people growth mindset, it changed the way they react to their depressed mood. The worse they felt, the more motivated they become, and the more they confronted the people that faced them. In short, when people believe in fixed rates, they are always in danger of being measured by a failure. It can define by a permanent way, smart or talented as they may be. This mindset seems to rob them of their coping resources. When people believe their basic qualities can be developed, failures may still hurt. But failures don't define them, and if abilities can be expanded, if change and growth are possible, then there are still many paths to success. Mindset change the meaning of efforts. As children, we were given a choice between the talented but erratic hare and the plodding but steady tortoise. The lesson was supposed to be that slow and steady wins the race. But really, did any of us ever want to be tortoise? No, we just wanted to be less foolish here. We wanted to be swift as wind and a bit more strategic, say, not taking quite so many snooze before the finish line. After all, everyone knows you have to show up in order to win. The story of the tortoise and the hare in trying to put forward the power of effort give efforts a bad name. It reinforces the image that effort is for the plodders and suggested that in rare instances, when talented people drop the ball and plodder and could sneak through. The little engine that could, the saggy baggy elephant and the scruffy tugboat, they were cute, were often overmatched, and we were happy for them when they succeeded. In fact, to this day, I remember how fond I was of those little creatures or machines, but no way did I identify with them. The message was, if you are unfortunate enough to be the runt of the litter, if you lack endowment, if you don't have to be an utter failure, you can be a sweet, adorable little slogger, maybe, if you really work at it and withstand all the scornful onlookers, even a success. Thank you very much. I'll take the endowment. The problem was that these stories made it into the either or, either you have ability or you expend efforts. And this is a part of the fixed mindset. Effort is for those who don't have the ability. People with fixed mindset tell us if you have to work at something, you must not be good at it. They said things comes easily to people who are true geniuses. What happened to you? Hoops and I had frank exchange ideas. What are you doing homework? I wasn't sure I understand. I review my notes from you do work. I was a young professor in the psychology department at the University of the Illinois. Late one night, I was passing the psychology building and noticed that the lights were on in some faculty offices. Some of my colleagues were working late. They must not be as smart as I am. I thought to myself, it never occurred to me that they might be just as smart and more hardworking. For me, it was either or. It was a clear I value the either over the or. Malcolm Gladwell, the author, the New York writer, has suggested that as a society we value natural effortless accomplishment over achievement through efforts. We endue our heroes with superhuman abilities that lead them inevitably towards their greatness. It's as if Madroni pops out of the womb feeding, Michael Jordan dripping, and Picasso dawdling. This captures the fixed mindset perfectly, and it's everywhere. A report from research at Duke University sounds an alarm, but the anxiety depression among female undergraduates who aspire to effortless perfection, they believe they should display perfect beauty, perfect womanhood, and perfect scholarship, all without trying or at least without appearing to try. Americans aren't the only people who disdain efforts. French executive Chevaliers say we are not a nation of efforts after all. If you have severe fear a mixture of known how and cool. You do things effortless. People with the growth mindset, whoever believes something very different, people for them, even geniuses have to work hard for the achievement. And what so heroic they would say about having a gift. They may appreciate endowment, but they admire efforts for no matter what your ability is. Effort is what ignites the ability and turns it into accomplishment.